be doing the 1.2 story for the Laofu, the newest story added to the game in patch 1.2. We just finished doing Locha's quest, Bailu's quest, and Yanqing's quest all in one day. And now we're going to go do the 1.2 quests. So they'll probably all be in their own separate videos. But, and this will be its own separate thing as well. Yeah, let's just get going. Let's get into it. Ain't got all day.
Whoa. Looks like the battle here was intense.
The Master Diviner must have launched the campaign while we were delayed in the Artisanship Commission.
Time is of the essence. The most important task for the Xianzhou Laofu is suppressing the Stellaron. General Jing Yuan tasked the Master Diviner with commanding the Cloud Knights. He would have known she'd act on the results of her divination.
Thank goodness the General didn't make us go with the Knights. Fighting is totally different from adventuring. All these people. It's tough to bear.
I'm afraid this is nothing, Benefactor. Centuries ago, an Emanator of Abundance besieged the Laofu with the aim of taking the Ambrosial Arbor.
Damn.
They destroyed half our delves and killed most of the Cloud Knights.
So if I remember correctly, Emanators are basically, like, in D&D terms, they are the avatar. They are, like, sort of like, or the highest priest of an Aeon, a god, effectively. They are the closest thing to the Aeon, effectively.
For
Like-
long life species, such events are more like yesterday's memories than ancient history. This awful spectacle is child's play in comparison.
With that said, that doesn't necessarily mean they're all actually that powerful. I guess it depends, because technically, Himiko is the emanator of the Trailblaze, even though Machiavelli is dead.
Hey, is that supposed to make us feel better?
No, Marsh, this is not a joke. Go away. If you just like during the Laucha quest, if you don't have anything like smart to say, stop talking, please.
It's hard to tell if the Master Diviner won or lost here.
Yes, more dialogue from Wilt. I hate all these responses.
I think so too. I can't see many Cloud Knights. The Xianzhou must have fought well.
Not necessarily. There'd usually be a base with supporting forces set up after a successful engagement, but we don't see any of that. Let's look around and see if we can find some clues.
Next part.
Here! There are still survivors here!
You're not the Knights. What is your purpose here? It's dangerous.
She's Sanctus Medicus. I recognize this outfit. She's Alchemy Commission, Sanctus Medicus.
We're reinforcements sent by the General. Where's everyone else?
Resorting to short-life species as reinforcements. Jing Yuan is truly running out of options.
Run! She's a disciple of Sanctus Medicus!
Silence. If my healing worked, you'll become one of us. And then it's not just me they'll be running from.
Damn. Nice. Alright, back to the story.
Hold on. We'll find someone to help.
Don't waste your time. They've converted me. I don't have much longer. Go. The Master Diviner's troops are ahead.
Let's go.
Enter the safe zone. Okay.
Who goes there? Show yourselves!
Oh, we walked up in plain sight, bro.
It's you. Quickly, in here. It's dangerous outside.
I like
You
how all these Cloud
recognize
Knights actually
us?
have, like, different voices.
Are you not the General's guests? The Master Diviner prophesized your arrival. We were ordered to wait for you under any circumstances. Yes, the Master Diviner ordered us to remain stationed here and went to scout ahead. They're saying the disciples of Sanctus Medicus have returned. They haven't been seen for an age. The troops are anxious.
Mm-hmm.
It's good that you're here. The Master Diviner said the Knights weren't to move out until you arrived. Please wait in the camp. We'll decide on our next steps once the Master Diviner returns.
That the Cloud Knights received orders not to advance is a bad sign. The Disciples of Sanctus Medicus. I've heard the name before. If memory serves, they're an underground sect of the Abundance that's said to have lain dormant within the Xianzhou, plotting to overthrow the Alliance. The Stellaron has certainly caused Abundance-like abnormalities. Is that what motivated the Disciples to come out of the shadows? No. The Knight's main force remains intact. Something must have happened. Something we're not aware of. The Master Diviner isn't here. Let's head into camp and see what we can learn from the troops here.
Good idea. Why don't you take a look around, benefactors? My feet need a rest.
Interesting. New doctor?
Have you talked with these disciples, benefactor? What do you make of them? Why would they betray the LeFou? I don't understand.
It's just like Leoa. What's going on here? Guarding a prisoner who is murmuring to himself.
Sad. I saw myself become thunder, become a storm that set in the elixir crucible. I could smell the future. Mere flesh will not trap me. I am the Abendir. I see the leaves and branches covering the sky. I will change again.
We captured a few devils from the disciples of Sanctus Medicus. Some of them are already mad, and this one is the maddest.
All his eyes were unfocused, starting back and forth as if he was looking in the two diverging ends of the path. Interesting. Captured disciple. Isn't this the guy from earlier? From Bailu's quest?
You want to ask questions? Fine. But I must be present the whole way through. This part needs to be recorded as testimony.
Finally, someone to talk to. These Cloud Knights are so serious, so boring. That shining seed? I've seen it. So beautiful. If you gaze into it, there's a voice inside that speaks to you.
Do you still remember Cocolia?
No, I've totally forgotten all about Cocolia. You know, the guardian of Belobog, the person who was ensnared by the Stellaron, Bronia's mom, really hot, kind of ended up dying because she went crazy, becoming obsessed with said Stellaron. Nah, totally forgot about her. It's not like I just did that, you know, not like a few months ago or anything. I totally forgot March.
The Master said we could inject new life into the ambrosial arbor with it. I didn't believe it at first. We tried many methods, spending multiple lifetimes of short-life species. Yet the arbor showed no signs of resurrection. But look upon it now. Only the power of an eon can recreate the miracle. Yes. Yes, the mighty Sanctus Medicus, the Abundance. So, you witnessed it too? The Ambrosial Arbor's resurrection. Magnificent. In the Befall era, so far in the past that even long-life species cannot recall, Sanctus Medicus the Abundance gifted the Ambrosial Arbor to the Xianzhou Luofu. With that sacred tree, humanity realized many miracles. The fallow earth, the western soapberry, the altered flesh.
Hold on a second. I thought Yaoshi was the abundance. What, is that another name for Yaoshi? Because it's not saying that. Usually, if it's another name for an Aeon, they usually put the Aeon's name there. So that's weird. They're just considering it. They're changing who the abundance is.
Ruined everything. They twisted right and wrong and erased Sanctus Medicus's achievements. But soon we will return to the glory of the Befall era. You've seen the fantastic creatures that fought with us. They are only minor gifts of the Ambrosial Arbor.
Shut it, rambling rodent. The Cloud Knights will root all of you out soon.
What did we do? We cured our kin. It must hurt to be trapped in such weak flesh and blood.
Then why are you still like this?
You scum! If the Order allowed, I would cut you down now.
Oh, you don't understand. A short-life species couldn't understand. Mara struck? Bah! It's a second life gifted by Sanctus Medicus. To eliminate the self, to achieve transcendence. A life of true freedom.
Okay,
I
buddy.
see a desire for power in your eyes. This life is too short for you, isn't it? I can help you.
Don't listen. His words are poison.
We're just having fun, sir. Without the blessing of the abundance, you short-life species would never be able to endure the transformation.
Have you talked with these disciples, Benefactor? What do you make of them? Shh. That's a brave thing to say out in the open. If the Cloud Knights hear you, they won't think twice.
No, I get it. I really do. Like, I get where the Sanctus Medicus group as a whole is coming from. But they're doing it evil. That's the problem. They're doing an evil.
It strikes me that you'd use any means to achieve your goal, Benefactor.
Yeah, I would.
Xianzhou natives are more afraid of immortality than they are of the days coming to an end. They received eternal life as they had desired, but are doomed to a fate more terrifying than death. The abundance played a cruel trick on them.
Again, if you ask Medicus, that's a matter of perspective. But I also think on a general level, morally speaking, yeah, no, the abundance kind of fucked everybody over. It's kind of terrible. Because you basically lose your humanity. There's a ghastly paleness in the face of this resonant Cloud Knight. As you approach him, he nods his head in salute.
Forgive me for being brief. Warfare is a dangerous business. There's no time for idle chat.
True.
We took over this place a
There
few
is,
hours
because
ago
hurry
with
up
the
and wait.
Master Diviner's command. It was only afterwards that we learned our enemies were none other than the disciples of Sanctus Medicus, those who worship the Plague's author.
Yeah, see, they put the actually I think it's a different spelling of Yaoshi too. They put the name of the Aeon above another name for them, so that's why I was like, I'm calling him Sanctus Medicus the Abundance. Really, that's a little bit much.
Everything was going as planned. The sorcerers of the disciples and the fantastic creatures they commanded were no match for us. And after a while, our comrades suddenly started to slaughter one another. Curse it. What Sanctus Medicus sorcery did they use on us?
Interesting.
The greatest fear of the Xianzhou people is succumbing to our Mara-struck form around others. To do so means that we have given up on being human, lost the abomination sleeping in our immortal blood, and violated the Rainbow's admonishments.
Now that's another name for land, the hunt, so I'm surprised it doesn't say that up
What the
there.
disciples of Sanctus Medicus did are despicable acts that every Alliance resident detests.
That's... I feel like that's an oversimplification. I doubt that. I doubt every single member of the Alliance detests.
I swear to the Arbiter that I will avenge my comrades.
Master Diviner,
After all,
you're
there's-
back.
Many forms to a story. Push on.
I have kept you waiting, but the deceit of the disciples is laid
Short
bare
cake
to me
pink lady.
now. Apologies. To avoid dissemination of intelligence, the General and I kept the involvement of the disciples to ourselves.
Yeah, but we already knew they were involved. We had just been dealing with them.
It is a clandestine organization that seeks to overthrow the Alliance. Before the Stellaron disaster, the disciples have remained veiled in shadow for years. Their emergence reflects their intricate connection to this calamity.
Yeah.
The conflict is difficult, Master Diviner, but you have led your forces from the front lines and beyond in pursuit of the enemy. Admirable work.
I mean, their people as a whole, while their individual people may follow different paths, like she follows the path of preservation, their people as a whole worship a land, the hunt. So yeah, they're gonna hunt their target to the ends of
Hardly.
existence.
A diviner must acquire first-hand knowledge in order to calculate the future. Collecting intelligence in this way assists me in achieving the right answer. Wait, what's all this about a difficult conflict? The disciples of Sanctus Medicus have been scheming for a long time, but our army is in no way inferior. How can things be so difficult? It would seem you came prepared.
I like the nod of acknowledgement, like, yeah, that's what this was about.
The first time we met Madame Yukong, she said something like, "This is a Xianzhou affair, and there's no need for the Express to get involved."
Damn, every once in a while, okay, so I will give March this. Every once in a while, she lets the I'm cute bubbly girl and I'm kind of dumb like drop, and she comes up, she has a comment to make to someone that is kind of, well, ice cold. So Leo's comments about, you know, Giga Brain March being in there somewhere, it's moments like this that I'm like, maybe there's something more in that head of hers. Where like the look on her face, this comment, this is the March I like. I agree she probably shouldn't be like this all the time. It's just I wish she was not the other way all the time.
And now here we are running around doing everything. Even the IPC takes it easier on us.
I agree with March in that context. He's like, yeah.
Let me guess. What are we up to this time? Could it be heading to the front lines? Leading the Cloud Knight charge? Well, try this on for size. Nope. I can't stand any more of this fighting. So there.
You know what? That's fair. You know what? I might give March a ton of shit, but that's fair. That's not our problem. I'm out. Later. Let's go. Let's just leave the Laofu right now. Welcome back, Ken. No, I might give March a lot of shit, but I actually agree.
Who said you'd be heading to the battlefield?
We're not?
She sounds so disappointed now.
Jing Yuan's orders.
What happened? We started the 1.2
He said
story.
that the value of unexpected guests lies in the unexpected.
And
The Cloud Knight's assault
nothing's really
was to
happened yet,
demonstrate
honestly.
our power to the enemy head on. Now it is time for the unexpected. Please, come with me. After receiving the Ambrosial Arbor, the
Just
Alchemy
March was
Commission
basically
is
saying,
Wolf's
hey,
most vital
stop
commission.
getting us to do all of your shit for you.
After
No,
all,
I
it was
refuse.
they
I'm
who
going
changed
home.
the Xianzhou natives into long-life
And I agree
species.
with her.
But in the end, the alchemists grew discontented and began to obsess over the manipulation of life. Research into the arbor poisoned their minds. The more they pursued it.
Oh, cut the dialogue.
Morning
damn it.
bells chime in a dream. Evening
Oh, well.
mist gathers around me. Do you see that?
That was a terrible pop-in.
What huge elixir crucibles. There's still smoke coming out of them.
This is where the alchemists practiced the way of immortality in ancient times. They erected elixir crucibles here to absorb the power of the arbor, turning fantasy into reality. Since the smoke from the crucibles never ceases, this place was named Eve Mist Mansion. An elegant name, but as far as the art of war is concerned, it's a death trap. As long as the crucibles are lit and the smoke continues to linger, we cannot get any closer.
This is why the Cloud Knights lost control and became Mara-struck?
Indeed. The disciples of Sanctus Medicus infuse the smoke that permeates this delve with medicinal pellets that elicit Mara.
Damn. Nice. Okay.
Unless the Cloud Knights were able to march with their breath held, they would be doomed to fall into disarray. Moreover, no one could know whether their comrade was about to be stricken with Mara. Is there anything better than fear for destroying the morale of an army?
The Cloud Knights' first assault was just a cover. You're using the main army to attract the enemy's attention, while we douse the elixir crucibles and stop the smoke.
The disciples of Sanctus Medicus renounced their century of secrecy and chose to reveal themselves, meaning they feel confident of victory. But no matter how well prepared they may be, their focus has always been the Cloud Knights. They are completely unaware of your existence and capacity, and in short, cannot be prepared against you.
I don't know why this just popped into my head, but at one point when Kafka comes to ask us for help here in this situation, Himiko makes a comment to her that, yeah, the Stellaron Hunters led by some dude who thinks he can see the future and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, and now all of a sudden I'm like, isn't that exactly what Fushan does? Like, it's totally possible for people to see the future. So why is it silly that the leader of the Stellarons sees the future? Now, I know it's not perfect, right? But, like, my point is, it's not a ridiculous thought that there's another person out there who can see the future.
You misunderstand the nature of the Mara-struck condition. It is not a curse unique to humankind. Foxians don't usually succumb to it because their lifespan is not eternal. Yet they are still a long-life species.
Oh, okay.
The Vidyadhara rely on molting to discard the old world. All long-life species are equal in the face of Mara.
Oh, okay.
However, the disciples of Sanctus Medicus could never have guessed that the General would seek outside help. They won't be prepared against short-life species.
Is this what General Jing Yuan meant by unexpected guests?
I wouldn't hazard a guess. All I can say is that the predictions of the Stellaron Hunters were more accurate than mine. The future that Kafka seeks is becoming reality. One step at a time.
Yeah, and here you have a seer being like, yeah, that other seer, doing good. Totally predicted this outcome. This is the only way?
Rather, only this way leads to the known best result. If we can afford to choose, then none would choose to leap off a cliff. Besides, this is not my decision alone. The duty of the Master Diviner is to bring luck and avoid misfortune. I don't want my choice to plunge the Luofu into a terrible future. To return to the matter at hand, only you can douse the elixir crucibles without being harmed by them. What say you?
That was good animation. That was good body animation, facial animation for that.
Fine. I didn't hear a please, but seeing as we do kind of have superpowers around here, Mr. Yang, what do you think?
Fine, we'll help.
I will come at once when the smoke dissipates.
Nah, it's okay. Actually,
You
I've been
won't be
mostly
left to
in
fend
my
for
head. I've been
yourselves.
playing my main character as like, nah, he is like trying to be like a hero, but also he's like not suspicious of the Salaran hunters at all. He completely 100% trusts Kafka, even though he shouldn't.
What? It's not too late to practice holding my breath. We're still far from the elixir crucibles. I'm no healer, but I do know that dosage is important in the application of poisons.
Fair enough.
Even so... Okay, I admit it. I'm terrified. I'm still young. I don't want to become Mara-struck so soon. Out of the question. Jingyuan gave me authority over the Cloud Knights. If I can't stand on the front lines, then how can I succeed him as a general? How can I win the hearts of the people?
How old is Fushan actually? Because if I had to guess, and it's not even really like a body type kind of thing, it's more of a personality kind of thing. Like, if she's a long life species, she would be the equivalent of whatever her personage would be of like being in her 20s, basically. It's like my mindset. If Yanqing is like long life species and the concept of being a 15-year-old, that's what I think when I see Yanqing, right? Her, I think of a woman in her 20s. When I think of Jingyuan, I think a dude like in his 40s or like late 30s, early 40s, mid 40s, somewhere in that area. As far as like to translate to long life species, I don't know what that would actually be because I don't know their actual lifespan.
If I told you I wasn't certain, would you turn back on the spot?
Nah.
Nonsense! I'm very certain. 100%! Though I'm sure a little reassurance wouldn't hurt. You don't know what being Mara-struck actually means, do you? The healers believe that the Mara-struck condition is related to memories.
Yeah, I remember this.
Unsurprisingly,
Violet talked
long-life
about this
species
already.
have long lifespans. But after centuries and millennia, a long-life
Higher and
species'
higher,
emotional
so the
threshold
state of
becomes
control,
higher
yeah.
and higher. Do you
Erosion
understand
again, yep.
now? The fate of all long-life species is to no longer feel joy and happiness, left only with hatred and regret etched into the heart. Under such extreme, short-life species don't need to worry about this. Feel better?
Nope.
Phew, I do. I never had memories to begin with.
Okay.
No, you still don't understand. The condition isn't caused by memories, but by the emotional threshold having been... Never mind. You can regard it as a memory
Yeah.
issue.
You've reached a... Now, this is an interesting... I like this as an interesting concept. They've not turned... So a lot of Immortality is Terrible stories have a tendency to make it like where you become disassociated with the world, and so you don't care and you don't do anything and you become lethargic and blah blah blah. This story is kind of doing the opposite, where you've accumulated too much attachment, too much emotion, too many things that you're losing or lost, and so you don't become detached, you become so attached that your emotions then like your emotions start to pile up, and all the negative things like all the loss, all of the joys you don't feel anymore, all those things start to compile until you eventually, erode from the inside out and you become Mara-struck. It's different than the whole, like, at least I feel it's different than the whole, like, I'm an immortal and I just don't care about the world anymore and I'm still living forever. Like, I like it. I like it a lot.
Only a handful of converted alchemists and healers. They can drive fantastic creatures into battle and strengthen their bodies with medicinal pellets. But they are no match for the Cloud Knights. That's why they decided to spread this demonic vapor.
Good stretch.
There is a gulf in strength between us, yet they still emerged into the open and rebelled. Something isn't right. They must be waiting for some shift in fortune. I will come at once when the crucibles are doused and the smoke dissipates.
Cool.
Huh. I feel like even though long life species get to live forever, they aren't so different from us short life species when it comes to worries
Yeah,
and
they just do it
suffering.
longer. That's it. Where we would, have a max of like, 100 years I got a max a couple thousand years. Amplifies everything. Cool.
Oh, wait, Miss Ting-Yun! Why are you still here? You're too close to the Crucible!
Thank you for the concern, but I'm fine. The General commanded me to stay with you. I dare not go against military orders.
Your life is more important, Miss Ting-Yun. Go back. We can explain to the General.
There's really no need. I've spent my years traveling the universe. Not to mention, I'm younger and stronger than I look.
Ting-Yun
You
sus.
benefactors have probably lived longer than me.
I knew it. She is really that young. So she is actually a young woman into like her 20s or something along those lines. That's what I thought. I was pretty sure because, especially because of the Yukong splash art, you see like a child Ting-Yun. So I'm pretty sure. That's not surprising. So she wouldn't be affected by this either. She's too young at the moment to be affected by it. Which makes sense. It tracks with everything. She can't be Mara struck yet. She's too young.
So, you succeeded in dousing the elixir cauldrons.
Shouldn't this be what's her face? Dawn I forgot her name. Fuck.
Unimportant. The inevitable is already upon us.
Don Shu,
Yeah, Dawn Shu.
it's you.
Yep.
I have met you before in my capacity as Chief Alchemist, Master Diviner. You don't seem surprised.
Indeed. The General and I knew that the disciples of Sanctus Medicus must be hiding in the Alchemy Commission. However, without evidence, we couldn't bring charges before the commissions. We had to wait for you to show yourselves.
So my problem right now, by the way, with the story already, like just a brief problem, is we did a bunch of the main character did a bunch of stories with Sanctus Medicus, the Alchemy Commission, and all that. But Jing Yuan and her don't know that, so they're repeating a lot of information that we kind of already know in certain conversations, not necessarily here, but it's a little awkward. It really shows my original complaints about the Laofu quest, where it cuts off way too early and ends like it's very cliffhangery. And honestly, all this part I feel like should have just been in there, but it's fine.
And now, your charges are many. Drawing Stellaron spirits into the Xianzhou, resurrecting the Ambrosial Arbor, striking down our people with Mara. The Ten Lords Commission will address these transgressions during your reckoning.
Crimes? If I am guilty, then all of our Xianzhou ancestors are also guilty. They were the ones who accepted the blessings of the abundance and turned their descendants into long-life species. The disciples of Sanctus Medicus are only walking on the road our ancestors once took. How is it a crime to seek ascendance? In days of old, the roots of the Ambrosial Arbor enveloped the Xianzhou Laofu like a living creature. We controlled the stellar seas, and none could stand in our way. Everyone could become celestial and shift form at will. Divine miracles descended onto all 9 Xianzhou ships. What a glorious time that was. How far the Xianzhou has fallen. We consent to be commanded by the devilish archer. Suffer continuously at the hands of the denizens of abundance. And the Ten Lords Commission even forces us to give up our immortality. How pitiful. I do not blame you for your ignorance. We were not born in the era when the Ambrosial Arbor first descended, nor did we witness its miracles. But now, we now have an opportunity to restore the ancient laws.
Forgive me for thinking you might have harbored some profound enlightenment. Yours is the same old talk of those who seek power and give up on their humanity. Our Xianzhou ancestors fought side by side with the Arbiter, laid waste to the Arbor, and established the Ten Lords Commission to lay down the lines between life and death. In doing so, we enshrined our future as human beings. Celestials? There are no Celestials on the Xianzhou. The divine miracles of the abundance, the manipulation of life and death. Your deeds are nothing but evil.
There's a small argument to be made in the Sanctus Medicus's side of things where, yeah, she's right. They're both right. Because the ancestors did do all the things that she said they did. They embraced the abundance. They had the Arbiter. It was all over their thing and all that stuff. But then there were other ancestors. Among those ancestors were like, this is bad. This is terrible. And Lan was like, down with the abundance. And the next thing you know, the Hunt was born. And all of those ancestors basically killed all the other ones. And now you have what we have. So in some ways, yeah, she's right. That's because they won.
I have nothing to say to you, Master Diviner. You have
Just playing devil's
already made
advocate a
your
little bit because it's
decision.
fun.
You have discarded power.
Whether it makes sense or not, it's still kind of
Foolish
fun.
choice.
It's that age-old debate of like humanity versus power. What do you do with power? Of like absolute power, ultimate power, right? People strive for that, and to do that means that you lose part of your humanity. And you know, it's a classic story. It's a good story. It does bring up Himiko's voice line for her ultimate though about power, about mastering the skies and why should she hide it.
Master Diviner, allow me to show you what the Celestials were capable of.
Disappear among the sea of butterflies. Illusions of the past.
Take everything I say when it comes to this stuff with a grain of salt. Also, I could just be being a charming contrarian for no reason. The acts of the past do not justify the acts of the present. True. You can. That goes both ways, though.
Time for a buzz.
Because the people who worshipped abundance in the past were your ancestors, and that's how they lived, doesn't justify you then trying to turn the current time into those times. At that same point, just because your ancestors persecuted those people also doesn't justify you to persecute them now.
Eternal sleep.
The main reason that there is conflict is because the abundance side are legitimately just doing terrible things. Sins of the Father and all that, yeah. Like, the main reason there's conflict is the fact that the abundance is very clearly, like, evil. I agree with Fushan's assessment. I may be playing devil's advocate and, like, nitpicking and, like, in the debate and may even be mostly talking from a sense of, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Semantics, right?
Major.
But I do agree with Fushan in the debate.
I'll free you from your chain. Disappear among the sea of butterflies.
And that's primarily because we have yet to see any sort of thing from the side of the abundance, or the Sanctus Medicus in particular. In fact, Sanctus Medicus in particular, because I don't even know if Yaoshi is really involved in all this. Right? We know Lan is definitely after Yaoshi, but I don't think Yaoshi cares about Lan. You know what I mean? Because they're both natural aspects. One of them's life, one of them's death. And we need to have death in order for life to be important.
You chose the wrong enemy.
So.
Lands at the ready.
It's the value of the axe that can only be judged. Yeah, exactly. And right now, from an action standpoint, the Abundance Acts are very clearly evil. You know what I'm saying? They're clearly doing bad, terrible things.
To my heart,
To both their own people and, like,
Eternal sleep is the dead return.
everybody else. And it's all come down to the fact that Mara struck as a thing. Right?
I'm
It's
on
terrible.
guard.
It's like, there's no if, and, or but about it. It's terrible. I've yet to see anything that says otherwise. Why, she said? Ah, so there is someone else behind going on.
Arbor's descent will bring us undying bodies. The one who gave us the Stellaron. said that Vantilia, the disciples of Sanctus Medicus have fulfilled our promise. You, Lord Ravager, must do the same. Now,
Lord Ravager? Isn't that the Emanator of Destruction?
Little pawn.
I knew it! She was so sus!
To intervene directly. I'm loath to flout my philosophy of destruction.
No fucking way! No fucking way! I was right! Oh my god, no way! No way! No fucking way! Oh my god, no. No fucking way. So, I have... Oh my god. Okay, I've talked about this before. I've been so sus of Ting Yun. I was so sus. But also, oh, no fucking way. I was right. I was fucking right. I'm glad you're here to remember this with me, Linux, because I called this like so long ago. So long ago. I was fucking right.
Never mind. It would seem the time has come for other means of dismantling the Xianzhou from within.
I fucking knew it.
What a shame.
I fucking knew it.
It would have been nice to observe for a little longer. You received the gift of abundance.
Surely you can withstand the blessing of destruction.
Miss Ting-Yun!
So was it someone inside her body?
Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Oh my god. The voice. That voice.
Ravager of I have come with a single purpose: to set in motion the self-destruction of the Xianzhou.
Oh my god. I need it to be louder. Alright guys, I'm sorry. The volume's gonna get louder. I need it to be louder. I need it to be louder. It's gonna get a little loud. Oh my god. I was right. I was right.
Ting-Yun is the Lord Ravager of the Antimatter Legion? But how can that be?
Keep calm, all of you. This is a formidable enemy.
It's interesting because Fu Shan's reaction to that situation was she saw this coming, right? Because she was standing there with her arms crossed, watching Ting Yun walk forward. Like this was what she saw coming. Like she knew this was going to happen, right?
Eternal.
Okay, so all those like memes I've seen a couple of memes of Ting Yun like doing that like head back tilt thing, very very anime. But I hadn't looked at anything like that, and I hadn't really been paying attention. So now I know I was fucking right.
What is the dead return?
That's crazy. That's so crazy. That's nuts. I love it. That's because most people would like. I don't think I expected it to go like this. I was super sus that she was like. So several times I was of the opinion that there was something wrong with Ting Yun. Her constant like, she was always there around us. She always asked us weird questions about the situation, how we felt. Like when she asked us about the Medicus, she was way too nice and cutesy for no reason. Her comments about traveling around into space, and all that. So I'm wondering if Ting Yun herself, like whoever Ting Yun is, like herself, like whenever she went and traveled around, she either got possessed by Fantalia or something along those lines. That is my assumption. I don't think like Ting Yun is Fantalia. She just took the name Ting Yun. I would imagine that Fantalia possessed her body, perhaps, and then just killed her, like, which I guess means Ting Yun's dead. I don't know. I'm just glad to know that I was right, that there was something off about her character.
Disappear among
Couldn't quite pin it down, and I definitely didn't predict that. I wasn't expecting that. That was nuts, but I was fucking right. It also explains why she was so adamant about following us, why it doesn't bother her, because she also had a good explanation as to why the smoke didn't bother her. I was like, yeah, that makes perfect sense.
Come on.
That was
I
cool.
want to try something out.
And it's cool because I talked about this like a few seconds ago, I think, in this video, probably, about like emanators, right? And how much of a problem they are. Her conversation earlier talking about fighting an Emanator, and she was like, this pales in comparison to destruction. Like, there are so many little things there now that make it so obvious, not obvious, but like are cool Easter eggs of like hints that she is Fantalia. That's really cool. I really like that a lot. That was awesome. That was a bravo reveal, and also bravo to all the people on the internet for not spoiling that for me for a week. That was good.
I'm on guard.
That was real good. Like, nobody. I've watched a lot of videos since then that like that have nothing to do with 1.2, but anybody could have made a comment about Ting Yun because some of those videos had her in it and been like, oh, too bad she's dead now, or too bad she's Fantalia, or something. So that's great. But that voice, that new voice, that whole cutscene, that was nuts.
More enemies.
That was nuts. That was absolutely nuts. I love that. So I am.
I'll free you from your chains.
Now I'm hyped. Now I'm super
Disappear among the
hyped.
sea of butterflies.
I'm ready for this fight. Let's go.
Illusions of
Bring it
the
on,
past.
Fantalia. Let's do this. I've got more or less my strongest team. Jafar would have been better here, but that's okay.
Time for a buzz.
Let's settle this.
This is double speed.
Oh yeah, that's cool. That's so cool. They did a good job. They did a real good job. So I guess I should actually turn it back down now. I made it a little too loud. Go back down. Go back down. I made it a little too loud, I think.
You are fortunate that Zephyro and Selenova never set their gaze upon the Xianzhou. They have no qualms about
Selenova.
dealing out destruction by their own hand.
So there's other emanators. So there's more than one emanator.
Since that
Okay.
stubborn general of yours has forced me to take center stage, I'll make sure I steal the show.
Interesting.
My apologies for leaving so soon, but I have an appointment to keep. I'm sure my friends here will be happy to entertain you.
She mentions two other destruction like generals and all that stuff. Are they also considered Lord Ravagers? Probably. I would imagine so. I would imagine that's like the
Time
concept,
for a
right?
buzz.
Get Lance ablaze.
That's so interesting.
Forward.
It's always destruction, man. It's always Nanook.
Time for a buzz.
Which gives further credence to Elio and Kafka's statements about Elio and the future and all that other stuff as well. That's crazy. I love it. I absolutely love it. Fantastic.
Disappear
Bravo.
among the sea of butterflies.
What a twist.
Illusions of the past.
What a twist. I'm glad I waited so that I could
Can I
record
have
this
fun
as well.
this time?
This is great.
Time
Please
for
roll
a
call.
buzz.
Thank you.
You chose the wrong enemy.
This is double speed.
Eternal sleep.
The dead return!
We're all thinking it's Laucha, but it was Fantalia. It was Ting Yun. Everyone was like, it was Laucha. No, it was Ting Yun all along.
It's time.
That's great. I love it.
Time
Fantastic.
for a buzz.
I'll see you off.
Still can't get over it, honestly.
What a headache.
I mean, it did just happen. So. Nice.
Wait, hold on a second. Are you really saying that Miss Ting Yun was a member of the Antimatter Legion all along? And what was that fire that came out of her? And her body? Where did it go? Mr. Yang, you're smart. What happened just now?
Okay, all of that that she just did, like, what happened? What was this? What was that? All of that was, it was Paimon all over again. Just stop. Just stop. I don't need any of that. I don't need any of that. He saw this coming. He also saw this coming. Bet.
The flame we witnessed claimed to be Lord Ravager Fantilia,
Okay.
a name I've heard other nameless speak of in the past. She's one of 7 Lord Ravagers who serve Nanook, and finds pleasure in witnessing the self-destruction of mortals. She's led countless souls down a dark and hopeless path.
7 sins. Interesting. 7 Lord Ravagers. That's a lot of power numbers.
Meaning that Ting Yun had long since fallen under the Lord Ravager's influence?
I don't believe so. Phantilia revels in watching a corrupted mind eating away its host from inside out, until the obliteration of both is achieved. But there was no indication that Ting Yun had been misguided or manipulated. It's possible that the Ting Yun we knew wasn't her true self, but an image Phantilia devised to serve her own purposes.
Was never real?
You're saying that the real Ting Yun is still...
I'm sorry, March. I can't say with any certainty where the real Ting Yun may be, or at what point she was replaced by the imposter. Without knowing where the body vanished to, it'll be tough to get an answer. At this point, it's all just conjecture and hope. But if that body belonged to the real Ting Yun, it does raise the question of why Phantilia would go to such lengths to destroy any evidence of her. Wouldn't it be more in line with her destructive nature to leave Ting Yun's remains behind as a display of power? I believe this to be Phantilia's goal: to sow seeds of doubt among us and ensnare us in a malevolent trap.
It's clear that the sudden resurgence of the disciples of Sanctus Medicus is all connected to the Lord Ravager. Pretending to be a Xianzhou citizen, planting a Stellaron
That's
in the
crazy.
Luofu,
What a twist. That's
all
such a
part of
good
her
twist.
plan to bring about our self-destruction. Phantilia is aiming for the Ambrosial Arbor.
God, I remember
She
at some point
succeeds,
I
the
went on a
Luofu
long
will be
tirade about
deprived
this
of its
too.
roots,
Oh man, I wish I had
making its
recorded that.
destruction
I wish I
all
could
too
say I wish I
easy.
absolutely
We must
had it.
stop her.
I'd almost given up on it. I can't believe it. That's so cool.
We
I'm
need
ready.
to take a star skiff to Scale Gorge Waterscape. The Ambrosial Arbor can be sealed from that delve. Let's make haste.
Yes, let's. No more.
That
25
imposter
relics.
had the audacity to carry out her nefarious plans right under our noses. How utterly despicable. What worries me more is just how many more antimatter saboteurs are at large.
Well, she mentioned 2 others. Man, I got one of the names, but I've already forgotten it somehow. And I'll have to go back when I watch this again.
It all happened so suddenly. But looking back, I think Mr. Yang was,
She was
right.
fascinated with the
Ting
abundance
Yun
creation.
was behaving strangely. She was fascinated with the Abundance's creations.
So my other thing is, she was also fascinated with us, like the main character specifically as well, and was very curious about us. So I'm curious if that has anything to do with the fact that we have a Stellaron inside of us, a piece of destruction inside of us. Like the whole concept is that we're eventually supposed to fight in a nuke, right? Like we're supposed to have to kill the nuke. So, but to do that, to really destroy him, we would have to embrace destruction ourselves. So it's very, because like you can't. To create, you must destroy, right? So there's a lot to go into that. There's a lot to go into
Since
that.
she was an Amicastor dispatched by the Skyfaring Commission, it's evident that there must indeed be a person with her name in the commission. We'll have to let the Cloud Knights get to the bottom of what happened to the real Ting Yun. As for the Ting Yun who accompanied us all that way, it's like what Mr. Yang said. Her appearance was designed to sow seeds of doubt among us. We cannot allow ourselves to fall into her trap.
Explains why she kept showing up in weird
It
places.
is a
too.
delve governed by the Vidyadhara. Supposedly an ancient oceanic region transferred from the Vidyadhara home planet. After the Ambrosial Arbor was broken in 2 during the war, its roots were left gnarled and broken. Yet it never died. The Alliance decided to seal the Arbor within Scale Gorge Waterscape, entrust it to the High Elders of the Vidyadhara, and rely on the power of long scions to constrain it. It has been so long. No one knows whether the seal remains. Even if it does, I doubt it will hinder that spectral Lord Ravager. I've reported the current situation to the Seat of Divine
Yeah,
Force.
where is Jing Yuan?
He made no further contact after we communicated at the Matrix of Prescience. He said he had important matters to personally attend to.
Sauce.
The situation stands on the edge of a precipice. We must trust in the general.
And Su Shang, there it is. Okay, cool. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. This is a good break from all of that to this. Great pacing. Great pacing. I want to say that this is paced very well.
Huh? You're pretty familiar with this place. Yep, it's the Alchemy Commission. No wonder we were getting those military broadcasts on the way over. Something about the Cloud Knights gathering here, right? They're probably coming to fix the Stellaron problem. It's been such a long journey, but now we're finally gonna meet some Cloud Knights. I'll be back with my unit.
You hope.
I didn't lie to you, right? I told you I'd bring you somewhere safe, and I did. Though, we did take a bit of a detour.
We did.
Before I arrived in Starskiff Haven, I had a diviner read my fortune for the journey ahead. He told me not to be concerned with the destination, but to seize my chances and travel with the current to reap the greatest harvest.
Meaning?
Meaning, thank you, Miss Su Shang.
Oh, okay.
I wonder if he has an old Aeon.
I'm gonna go
in his
report to the
casket.
nearest
That would be
captain.
interesting.
You guys can hang around here, but don't run off too far. There'll be Cloud Knights coming to escort you back soon. Bye for now.
You know what I just realized? I don't know how I missed this, but look at Laucha's coloring. White, green, gold, black. Dan Heng, white, green, gold, black. I know it's not just an imaginary wind. How did I not catch this? They have like very similar, like almost the exact same color palette. He has just more green than white, and he has more white than green, obviously. But they both have about the same amount of gold. Interesting. I actually like synergies. I like that the color palette between the two of them. Time to make a team of Dan Heng and Laucha against the world. The clients invited us to go with them. Your homeland's got some really big crucibles. That's what I sent. All of that just happened at the crucible, and these are the text messages that I sent to him. Really, game?
The messages never get sent. I wonder what's happening with those three. The Cloud Knights seem to be gathering for the Stellaron disaster. But why did Kafka want us to come here? What happened to them? And what happened to Blade? I've delayed for too long. I need more information.
The Master must have failed to summon the protection of Sanctus Medicus. Her will must have wavered. Just you wait. I'll show you the blessing of Sanctus Medicus.
The disciples of Sanctus Medicus started a rebellion in the Alchemy Commission. The Cloud Knights have the area locked down. It's not safe. Please, remain here for now. We will send someone to escort you back once the operation is over. Lunatics, all of them. You saw the Ambrosial Arbor, I assume? I heard that's the work of those sorcerers. Still, I can't say too much. Military secrecy.
The Arbor's resurrection is connected to the Disciples' Rebellion. I've heard those names before, but when? How did the others get drawn into all this?
You must be talking about the General's guests. Are they your friends? Oh, what a coincidence. They left with the Master Diviner not long ago. And it's all thanks to their courageous work that the Knights don't have to worry about the poison in Eve's mansion. I received the good news from the front lines. They'll probably be back soon. Strange. You seem oddly familiar to me. Never mind. Too many misfortunes recently. I can hardly think straight.
What a huge cauldron.
This aureate cauldron is driven by the cloud hymn magic of our people, the Vidyadhara. It drinks the water of the ancient sea like a whale swallows the tide, and refines it into medicinal pellets.
Like, Dan Heng is the real main character.
All the elixir crucibles that the Vidyadhara helped to construct contain cloud hymn magic. You should take this chance to learn more, young master.
Uh-huh. But I don't need any sort of device to help me command water. What more is there to learn?
You are indeed the chosen one, with endless potential. Yet, cloud hymn magic is just the beginning.
Of Vidyadhara Mirage-echo? Have these shadows of the past yet to disperse?
Oh no. Echoes. Travis, if you're watching. No, echoes.
No. They have nothing to do with me anymore.
See, that's the thing.
Searching power. It's you. You've returned, High Elder.
That's supposed to be her as a child now, right?
Something terrible is happening in Steel Gorge Waterscape. Please, don't go any further. Your enemies are waiting for you.
I'm sorry. I cannot linger here. My friends have left. I must find them.
You didn't heed us then, and won't heed us now. As headstrong as you always were, it seems you already made your decision. There is a vessel bound for Scale Gorge Waterscape, located ahead.
It was kind of sad. Nice cutscene.
He's here.
Oh shit. Blade and Kafka. Blade and Kafka. Mommy and Daddy. Here we go.
Right on time.
That feeling, Kafka. It's welling up within me. That feeling. It's...
Well, don't resist. Let the Mara strike you.
You're here.
It's time to pay the price! It's time! You think changing form will help you escape?
Escape.
I've told you and that woman many times. I am Dan Heng. I have nothing to do with your past.
Dan Heng. You think another name and face can blot out the sin of your past? You didn't even experience death. I will force this suffering upon you, Dan Heng. You will know the pain of death.
Not on my watch. You're not murdering anyone today, fugitive. You're coming with me.
Jing Yuan's lapdog. Did the general not teach you to choose your battles wisely?
Hey, move back. Things are about to... Huh? You look so familiar.
Yes, Kafka, please come home. I agree.
Look out!
Quit hiding. Your true self revealed.
Stop! You...
I like the idea that Yanqing cannot stand up to Blade.
Boy, behind you
is none other than the traitor of the Xianzhou. A criminal forever banished. The High Elder of the Videodora. Imbibitor Lunae. You really thought the Stellaron hunters were the only ones to infiltrate the Xianzhou?
In that case, I'll bring both of you to justice.
Interesting. So this is just a big old pissing contest. That's all this is. It's just one big pissing contest between Blade versus Imbibitor Lunae versus Blade and Imbibitor Lunae versus Yanqing.
I have no interest in stoking conflict. I came to ensure the safety of my friends.
Save your excuses for the shackling prison.
Out of the way!
It's just so funny. It's like Dan Heng's like, dude, I'm not even here for you. Like Yanqing is such a little shit because he's like, I'm here to collect you guys for justice. Fighting against people who are like so like above him in like power scale. It's so funny. This is hilarious to me. But with that said, Dan Heng looking good. Blade looking good. Dan Heng looking good. So he has imaginary destruction. He's got that. He's got the ball, the yin yang thing. Oh, okay, that's interesting. Okay. Now, what's funny is I do know his mechanics, but they're not going to show him here, so it's okay. It happens.
Better, but I'm afraid you won't be seeing your friends. They're caught in their own bitter struggle.
Silence! You're not getting away either!
Is that so? Let's heat things up then. Kafka?
Lady, listen to me. Unleash the Mara.
So it begins.
Interesting.
Oh, Grace.
Surrender!
Fail to send you. What's wrong? Afraid to hurt the boy?
You're all in on it!
Fail to send you.
I wonder if the others are okay.
Ah, his blast ability.
Gotta make this quick.
Cannot view Tito.
There's no time.
Awesome. Okay, interesting mechanics for his boss fight later
Won't
on.
give up. I only have one choice.
Bro, you didn't even do that much damage with that.
So familiar. Did she teach you?
Interesting. His new technique is part of her.
No mercy.
He deserved no mercy. He knows. Okay. Oh, there are so many like
I didn't wish to harm anyone, but
there are so many interesting
no other
character
way.
interactions going on here. Like there's so many. This like this person is after this person because of this reason. This person's after that person because of that reason. Like Dong Heng is a traitor and a rebellious. Blade is a criminal and a murderer. Yanqing is some dude who's some kid who's trying to get justice. Jing Liu is something like there's just so much going on. And then meanwhile Kafka's sitting over there like, go do a thing, lady.
Focus.
That's great. Use the skill to enhance Dong and Virus linear basic attack for up to 3 consecutive times.
Heaven's Surge.
Nice. Use Flagrant Leap. Uses 3 skill.
No. I failed.
Damn. That was such a cool animation, though.
Isn't over.
Bro, you lost. Stop making Yanqing, like, weirdly powerful for no
Listen
reason.
to me. Stop.
Whoa. But did Kafka do that to us? I think she did that to us. I knew... Okay, so this, the way they darken her words, she did this to us at the beginning of the game when she said, listen, go on an adventure. Listen, do this. Right? So that's the key phrase. Interesting. Her power is the ability to control people, obviously. We already knew that, but this is an interesting application of it. I like it. There's so much going on here.
Well, Blady, are you satisfied?
Yeah, Yanqing's arrogance is going to get him killed. What's that smirk? Look at that smirk. Look at that smirk on his face. What is happening in this corner right here? What is this? I'm gonna take a screenshot of this. This version of Blade over here in the corner, smirking for no fucking reason. I don't know what's going on here. I'll need that for later.
What did you do?
I'm just clearing the stage for the grand entrance. Can't have you three misbehaving in front of the Luofu's hotshot general.
and now enters Jing Yuan. There's too much. The screen right now has too much badass on it. I can't handle it. There's too many hot dudes on this screen. Even a straight guy like myself can't handle all this hot dudeness. Not Yanqing, just between Jing Yuan, Blade,
Jing Yuan.
All this. Meanwhile, you know, hot waifu Kafka just standing there, controlling all of them. Oh, it's too much.
General!
Many years have passed since the two of you departed the Xianzhou, and yet the circumstances of your return appear to be equally unhappy. If you still thought of me as a friend, you should have forewarned me.
I love his candor with this situation.
My task is complete.
That it is. Thank you for assisting the Xianzhou in this small matter. Take this person away. I will pretend I didn't see anything this time.
It's funny because I feel like on a power scale, Jing Yuan is like the strongest person in the room. Weirdly enough, like maybe other than Dan Heng, right? Like I feel like in the power scale of the room, Jing Yuan is actually probably the strongest person in this room, and could like fight them on all of them at the same time on an equal footing. Like from a lore perspective, I don't know why I get that vibe from the General Jing Yuan.
General,
Now is not the time.
Oh, very serious. I love it. And he just lets them go because they weren't part of the problem. They came here to help us, help them, and
it has been a
crazy.
long time, old friend.
Interesting.
I'm not him.
I'm sorry. You cannot leave yet. Your Astral Express friends are waiting for you in Scale Gorge Waterscape. Shall we go and see them together?
He doesn't have a tail. I don't know why that bothers me. He doesn't have a tail. I don't see one.
Luminescent depths. A realm of singular beauty.
Nope, no tail.
Scale Gorge Waterscape is the same as when I last laid eyes on it. And here we stand so different from one another. The flesh of long-lived species may be immortal, but the constant of heaven and earth eludes them.
You know the Vidyadhara hatching rebirth cycle, General. The waters of the ancient sea have cleansed Dan Feng of his past sin.
Dan Feng.
The person that once stood here alongside you is no more.
Interesting.
I am Dan Heng. Whether Dan Feng was hero or villain has nothing to do with me. I bore his punishment, accepted my eternal banishment without complaint. But do not let his shadow cloud your estimation of me, General.
Interesting. So the previous version of him, Dan Feng, was like this super Vidyadhara. And now Dan Heng, and that super Vidyadhara had some rebellion thing, a sedition, right? And did a thing. And now this version of Dan Heng, who was reincarnated, he doesn't actually have all those memories. He has some of them, clearly, or has a connection to that, but doesn't want to be associated with that. He took like you say, he took the punishment of the previous version of himself. So that's interesting. Okay.
Raising old nets only darkens the water, an exercise in unhappiness. Perhaps it is your visage, the horns on your head, or the unmistakable air of the High Elder that makes the separation nigh impossible for me.
I love the place you're going now. My favorite? Okay, I'm looking forward to it.
I already told you.
You did. But to what effect? If words alone were enough to change the heart, this world would be without quarrel. If you wish to rid me of the illusion of Dan Feng, you must do something for me.
Ooh.
Before I can let Dan Feng die and revoke your banishment edict, I need him to do me one final favor. I can guarantee you that when it is done, you will no longer walk in anyone's shadow aboard the Luofu.
I may not be capable of the things that Dan Feng was capable of.
You must do it, or my promise will count for naught. If you wish to blame someone, blame your previous incarnation. Had he not committed that terrible sin, had the power of dragon transmutation been passed on intact, I would have no need to compel you.
The power of dragon transmutation been passed on intact.
It is as I said. Here we stand so different from one another. Dan Feng is no more. Now, there is only Dan Heng. But I am the general of the Luofu. There are things that I wish I did not have to do, and yet I must.
Fair. I make that.
Let us talk of happier tidings. The friends you made on the Express are here. Do you wish to see them?
You brought them here?
Yes. They are waiting in the Dragon Vista Rain Hall. Go. Your friends are waiting for you.
This is Dan Heng and
keeping
Biden.
careful watch against the abominations of abundance, the Stellaron hunters.
Vidyadhara.
But I never anticipated.
I don't know how to spell it at the moment.
Antimatter Legion. The hunt is far from over. Yet all the while we find ourselves at war with other evil spirits. From this battle onward, the Alliance must fight the Legion to our dying breath. Even if it means the end.
Yeah, so interestingly enough, what this does is this turns... Inevitably, destruction does this. It turns the hunt against the destruction now. It means that Lan and Nanook are now enemies. By Nanook's people coming in here and messing with Lan's people, obviously this makes them, like he says, the hunt. That's why it's capitalized. The hunt is far from over.
This tells us that the Legion are a mad and destructive war machine. Yet they never took up arms against the Alliance.
Yeah, exactly.
The armies of the Seven Ravagers all have their own means of destruction. They are not to be taken lightly. Lord Ravager of Fantalia favors internal collapse. which is why she masterminded the Stellaron crisis and urged the disciples of Sanctus Medicus out of the shadows. Now that her plot has been laid bare, she has no choice but to retreat.
Speaking of, I will say this: I'm a little disappointed that the Sanctus Medicus didn't have a bigger role outside of that.
Be something more.
But still, it all comes back to the destruction, which is the grander plot. It makes sense.
Do you know something? When Don Fong committed his great crime, the Ten Lords Commission advocated strongly for him to be destroyed. The Vidyadhara, on the other hand, were split evenly in their favor and disfavor of the motion. The Dragon Transmutation inheritance was not intact after all. The senior Vidyadhara hated you, yet did not dare to kill you. The Vidyadhara were under great pressure. In order to placate the Ten Lords and Skyfaring Commissions, they performed an exuviation charm on Don Fong against his will. Still, they ensured that the charm contained a flaw, thinking that this would fool the Ten Lords Commission. The senior Vidyadhara were sure of their scheme. But you cannot hide fire with paper.
Why do I have trial versions of myself? What the fuck? Why am I still destruction?
Sense a storm. Heaven's Surge. Cloud-bearing dragon. Rise!
Let's make it quick.
Yeah! A foregone conclusion.
Here is thunder!
My turn. Watch this!
I'm kind of curious how they built this. Oh, is that how his mechanic works? Hold on a second. Only takes one skill point.
Heaven's Surge. Celestial Dragon. Quick!
This is our chance. How about this?
Conflict is pitiless.
I told ya I could fight.
Okay, I'm really confused in this situation. Why would you ever not do his full skill?
Heaven's Surge. Rise!
It's got the highest multiplier in the game also.
There's no time to lose.
Rules are made to be broken.
Show no mercy.
Nice.
Xingyuan, where have you been?
Being the boss that he is behind the scenes, controlling and like understanding how all this is going.
Forgive my late arrival, Lady Fu. We are indebted to you and your forces. The Seats of Divine Foresight relayed the battle reports to me. As for Fantilia's plan...
The Ambrosial Arbor. That's her focus. Lord Ravager Fantilia's strategy was to create civil strife, then let it consume the Xianzhou from within. She wanted to use the Arbor to disseminate the power of the Plague's Author, and turn the Luofu into a hell of undying abominations.
That is clear to me now. Friends of the Astral Express, I have brought someone with me whom I think you'll be eager to see.
Huh? Is
Don't
that
do this. I hate that.
Don
animation.
Hung? You are Don Hung, right? What's with the horns?
It's a long story, March. It's me.
So, you do have secret strength.
let us save such reminiscence for later.
Well, yeah, you got some splaining to do, Lucy.
My astral guests. When you first appeared on the Lawfu, your stated aim was the resolution of the Stellaron crisis. I was concerned that the Stellaron hunters harbored ulterior motives and refused your offer. I see now that I was overly anxious. Nevertheless, it is true that the motives of the Stellaron hunters were not what they appeared. In order that the Express and the Xianzhou fight side by side, Kafka lured you here and broadened the scope of the crisis. In doing so, she succeeded in making it clear that your sincerity is beyond doubt. The Lawfu is in your debt, and I have no right to seek further assistance from you.
But I'm going to.
However, as Lady Fu has explained, the appearance of Phantalia means that the situation is far from under our control. As General of the Lawfu,
she is an emanator.
It would be foolish of me not to ask Don Hong and the rest of you for your strength at this critical moment.
Even if the crisis on the Lawfu had nothing to do with the Stellaron, I would be willing to help. But I can't speak for the other members of my crew. Explore, understand, establish, and connect. As the crew of the Express, that's the Trailblaze creed we follow. Still, when the journey gets tough, those words can feel far off. Fear, risk, enemies, and death are the obstacles we face in pursuit of the creed. That's why the nameless who are able to stay the course number few indeed. Whether our destination lies before us or behind us, the decision is ours to make. Here, as on the Express, every vote counts.
This is a democracy. Oh, I don't get a choice. I don't actually get a choice. I can't be like, nah, I don't actually want to help. All right, Gabe. No, it's cool. It's fine. Oh, I'm still playing Don Hung. That's why. Yeah. Okay, interesting.
Thank you, Don Hong.
How am I still one of the nameless? I stand here at the mercy of others without true freedom to speak. But as a descendant of the Vidyadhara, I will fulfill my duty to the Lawfu.
Great! Everyone's just as heroic as when they arrived. So, what's the master plan, General?
There is no master plan, only a bet. A bet on the Senior Vidyadhara's incomplete exuviation charm. And on Dong Hong's ability to access the memories of the High Elder.
High Elder?
When the Rainbow Arbiter severed the Ambrosial Arbor, remnants of the curse of the plague's author lingered. In order to make the stemming of those remnants a possibility, the Lawfu invoked the power of the Scions of Permanence. Under the direction of the High Elder, the Vidyadhara guided the waters of the ancient sea to flood the Scale Gorge waterscape delve and contain the Arbor. To commemorate this magnificent feat and sacrifice, the Alliance erected the Dragon Vista Rain Monument, a Vidyadhara statue.
It's interesting to me that the Vidyadhara, who are Long's descendants, the god of permanence, Aeon of permanence, are so close. Music just kicked in.
Ah, it looks so much like Don Hong. I wonder if... this statue... is that... Don Hong's brother?
Yes, March. It's his brother. Mm-hmm. Yep. Yep.
I see why you might think so. These events occurred a long time ago. Yet successive generations of High Elders have not differed greatly in their appearance. That is, until the current generation. The most recent successor did not inherit the same level of power, and their appearance is that of a child.
Oh, so Bailu is in the position that Dan Heng would have been in, which is why she has all the dragon stuff. She actually has more dragon stuff than he does, apparently. Interesting.
Do you understand, Don Hong? Since Dong Feng perished, the Luofu Vidyadhara have no longer had an individual capable of performing such feats. But you, who once kept watch over the Arbor, should be able to open a way through to that
Interesting.
great
So
tree.
Bailu is like, despite her appearance and relative power, she is not. It's interesting because that also explains her water theme, like the dragon's water theme. Like he has a water theme, why she has a water theme, despite being electric as a character. It's very, very interesting.
What happens next is in your hands.
Right. What happens if I talk to me? Damn you! There should be some. You do voice lines in other situations, but you won't do one there. You bastards. Alright, here you go. Big cutscene. I've seen it already because they spoiled it in the music video. So. How has been greatly changed by years of weathering. There are small words engraved near its base. Hearken. As Arbor revives and foe nears, we call forth the mighty waters of ancient sea. To flood abodes of heaven and quell roots of evil, we etch this in stone for all to heed. Try to feel the great power here. Beneath the endless rolling waves, the ancient roots of the arbor blaze. Long dormant, they stir and come to life, as if a beast were waking from its strife. The containment mechanism woven by past thrones, the bindings that tamed the beast's power known, a fragile net, soon to shatter and fall, its decay a warning, heard by one and all. Memories from the past emerge from the darkness, tightly gripping you. Let's go. Okay. Okay. The Environment Lune arrives.
The annals mention that Scale Gorge waterscape was once the location of Dragon Palace. Small wonder. Look at all these submerged structures.
I was fortunate enough to be here during the Shuhu upheaval period. I witnessed this place in its prime. An age passed. The palace was left in ruins, and the Vidyadhara used their sacred homeland to imprison the Arbor. The Luofu and the Xianzhou are greatly indebted to them. Lady Fu.
Here, General.
Remain here. Lead the Cloud Knights in defense of this passage. We must prevent further incidents.
Jingyuan. General, are you planning to face Vantilia alone?
I wouldn't say so. I'll be counting on a few friends for support.
Hell yeah, let's go.
General, don't cast us aside. We're willing to go with you.
Yes, General. We may not be the mightiest force, but it's our duty as Cloud Knights to protect the Xianzhou. How can we let Outworlders face the danger while we stay behind the lines? With your permission, sir, allow me to lead the way.
I do actually like how they had like the faceless like Cloud Knights in the background actually like speak them like, hey, this is our city, this is our people. We want to help protect them too. It's good
I
shit.
understand your sentiments, soldiers. But the adversary ahead of us is not an abomination of abundance. They are a Lord Ravager of the Antimatter Legion. Crossing this line will bring you into the conflict between the Rainbow Arbiter and the Ruin Author.
I love it's funny, originally when I started playing the game, I hated all the different names they had for all the Aeons, because every Aeon has like 5 or 6 names. It was worse than Genshin, like how Zhongli had like Morax, Zhongli, and like just a bunch of different names for him, right? But in this game, I actually like all the different like monikers and names they have for the different gods, for the different Aeons. And the Rainbow Arbiter, and Nanook the Ruin Arthur. I like it.
You have a
They're
more
very clever.
important duty. Cloud Knights, attention! After I enter the Ambrosial Arbor, and if the seawater returns to its original state, you must withdraw immediately and seal off the delve once more. The Master Diviner will lead you.
Oh shit.
Yes, General! Lady Fu, if I am unable to return, I entrust you with the important task of relaying the full account to the other Xianzhou ships.
I trust you will be here to reissue the order in person. But whatever the outcome, I will do as you command and honor the mission.
Spoken like a true general.
Let's go. Cool. Got it. Got in one. Let's go. Master puzzle solver. That's me. Long the permanence?
The reverence to the 3 talons is complete. Now, we must head for the roots of the arbor. The roots of the arbor are still growing.
It's Ventilia. We must hurry.
Is that a dragon?
We've reached the end. These are the roots of the Ambrosial Arbor, where the vestiges of abundance lie. Reverence to the 3 talents. The path to the great roots. This is it. Under the power of the High Elder, the Arbor's roots have formed into the image of a dragon.
Huh, that's cool.
Now, I will break the final seal.
I hope everyone is prepared.
I like it. I like how they allow you to bring your own if you have them. That's good. But if he dies, the battle ends. Shit. I assume that electric, again, the game is so heavy on electric. It really is. It has been for a while, but the game is so heavy on electric. Electric characters are so important.
Has the General of the Law Fu chosen to grace me with his presence?
That witch! She was here waiting for us the whole time. Show yourself, Fantilia!
And the benefactors, too. Oh, patience, patience. Let me make myself presentable. Now I see why the disciples of Sanctus Medicus hold themselves in such high regard. The Arbor's traces really do possess the power of metamorphosis and resurrection.
All of you, ready yourselves. Don Hung, guard my back. I'm counting on you.
Understood.
I like this is the part where we could have got a new path, but that's okay.
Fantilia!
It's not our story, honestly.
What is she doing?
Damn. Hello, Fantilia. I am a fan to you.
Behold this beautiful body. The miracles of abundance live up to the name. Let's see if I can put it to good use. The very power that brought the Xianzhou long life, I will use to bring it destruction.
Damn.
Fantilia has usurped the power of the Arbor. All of you, focus on destroying the Phantom Flowers. I'll go for the body.
Okay.
Let's be gone. A thousand wonders to raise your spirits. Good omens. Fight as one.
Time for the Mastered Radiant Spirit. Heed my word. Show no mercy!
It is slow. I don't have it on speed up. I was leaving it off speed up. Whenever you get into a big story fight, it turns the 2x speed up. So if you're used to watching in 2x speed, which you will be, it looks real slow.
For the Xianzhou!
Eternal sleep is not the end. The
Dead will return!
But I want to see some of her animations, you know, slowed down in full color
Lance at the ready.
before I do anything else.
Indestructible. Lance ablaze.
Yes, they're not fire weak, but that's okay.
Flaming lance. Forward.
So much bark with so little bite. Your attacks are futile.
Come on, over.
This body was born of the Arbor. You are but ants.
1 second.
Strong wind.
She has another attack animation I need to watch.
March, careful!
Major.
Yeah, right back. Got hot in here all of a sudden. My air conditioning was acting weird. Okay. Joining the flower gave me skill points.
We were supposed to attack yesterday. Chill out.
Alright, put it back on the speed up.
For the Xianzhou!
Try untangling yourselves from this.
The weeds in my garden give me more grief.
Damn.
Your arrogance betrays you. Life finds a
I
way.
am the vanguard of the hunt to victory! Show no mercy. I'll see you off.
My Jing Yuan is E1, by the way. That's the other thing, too. My Jing Yuan is E1.
Let's be friends.
Eternal sleep.
The dead return!
Cool.
Lance at the ready.
I underestimated you.
For the Xianzhou!
Nothing major.
The moment.
You chose the wrong end.
I'm on guard. Hit.
On my command.
Lance ablaze. Lance. Forward.
I like this music. The music is good.
Vanquish the abomination.
Looks like she got a headache. She's like, oh. I love that. It's great. Like she talks like my body is perfect. And I don't disagree with her.
Customers. Tell 1,000 wonders to raid. Fight as one.
Show no mercy.
Eternal sleep.
The dead return! Fantilia, your scheme ends to victory!
He has special dialogue, I think.
Bloom. Repay.
Let's be friends.
Fly, princess. Life finds a way.
Welcome, customers.
I love her the way she says it. Life finds a way. Like, I don't know. That's a really good line read. I like it. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm just gonna focus on her now. I don't really care about the skill points. Honestly, I will generate enough. I'm not worried about it.
I'll see you.
Most of this team only uses like one skill point anyways, so it's all good.
Nothing may eternal sleep.
The dead return!
Look, just spears, Booba. Yep.
Gift of abundance.
To victory! Show no mercy.
Let's settle this. I'm on guard.
This is only phase 1, too.
Let's be friends.
For the Xianzhou!
Not a scratch.
Was that it?
Yeah, I'm just better off focusing on her and not worrying about the flowers at all, actually.
Welcome, customers.
Because overall, my casual AoE will take care of the flowers.
1,000 wonders to raise your
I don't use enough skill points with this team for it actually to be a concern, honestly.
Not a scratch.
On my command.
Also, we just hit 8 hours on the stream a little while ago. Congratulations, team.
Show no mercy. Lance ablaze. Lance!
Like, all 3 of these characters have AoE ults, and 2 of the characters have AoE attacks, so I'm not worried about it.
Eternal sleep.
The dead return! I am the vanguard of the hunt for the Xianzhou!
Let's be friends.
And when they do finally die, they give me
Crushing
back
an
to my
ant with
sleep.
the weight of a star. How indulgent.
Only summons destruction.
The universe will end in destruction. And with it, the abundance and the hunt will disappear.
Receive divinity.
Better late than never.
It's okay, we have Laucha here. We have the most OP healer in the game. We're fine. We're fine. We're fine. It's fine.
1,000 thanks.
Nothing major.
We're good. We're good. It's all good.
On my
Now,
command.
these flowers, if I remember correctly from what they said in the live stream, these you should worry about.
General of the Xianzhou, can your
Don Hung, you take it from here.
Did you think it was over, Fantilia?
Use Cloud Hymn Roar to attack Fantilia. Oh, okay. Very cool.
Oh, a scion of permanence.
Which effectively would be an emanator. You
Finally
could win.
remembered your duty of watching over the arbor?
Welcome, customers.
Eternal sleep.
The dead return!
Probably should've
Fantilia, your
kept
scheme
that.
ends vanquish the abomination!
Music. I gotta find this music later. It's I love it. It's very, again, it's very Nier-esque to me. Like, just take a moment to jam out to this.
Don't lose momentum.
Let's go. I'm here for it. I'm so here for it.
Receive divinity.
Definitely.
Better late than
Definitely.
never.
Definitely. Oh, we lost. We straight up lost because Jinguan just died out of nowhere. Gacha game composers are just brilliant. They really are. They really are. Like these companies that are composing, especially the Chinese games, their music production is great. Absolutely great. Like Punishing Gray Raven, I've heard a lot of soundtracks from that game. That game has a lot of good music as well.
Lands at the ready.
Time for a fun.
Fantilia, your scheme ends to victory! Are we still ants to you, Fantilia? So much effort to crush us, and met with so little success. I wonder what the other Ravagers would think.
Now you pissed her off.
It's almost as if you can't wait to be acquainted with them. I'm afraid you won't have the chance.
Oh my god. Oh my god, she's even hotter. She got hotter. Oh no. Oh no, she got hotter.
Out of ideas, Fantilia!
If evil, why hot? Yeah, if evil, why so hot? Evil is sexy. That's just the thing. That's like one of the oldest tropes to like exist. Is that evil is sexy? It's just a part of it. It's just how it works.
Eternal sleep is not the end.
The dead return!
Other than like, yeah, well, Big Mom. No, not quite. If we're talking like One Piece, no.
Lance ablaze. Lance!
Forward! I am the vanguard of the hunt for the Xianzhou!
Time for a fun.
Nice.
Can I have fun this time?
This is so cool. This soundtrack is so cool. All the voice dialogues are so cool. This is super hype. They did it again. Like, somehow, Honkai Star Rail, Hoyoverse never misses in these big moments. These big moments, they really don't miss. They really, really don't. This is huge. This is great. It's literally huge. This is like, Cocolia was here, which was really high. This actually takes it to another level. This is really fucking cool.
Vanquish the abomination!
Let's go.
I'm on guard. Lance ablaze. Lance!
Forward!
Time for a fun. This combat needs. This is double speed.
Let's go, let's go. Silverwolf changed this a lot. That defense reduction was super strong. And then using an actual level Jinguan was good too. I like this team. I like Jinguan. What happened? I just have to
Goodness me.
Why I don't know.
Time to end this.
And that's it. That's the battle. Right? No? Miranda just struggle in the face of certain deaths is touching.
Your struggle in the face of certain
I like how even
deaths is touching.
interesting, even as it's about to like be kind of oh my god.
My next trick, I shall turn each of you into my Void Rangers.
Oh shit.
The power of the destruction will eat away at your flesh and transform you into pawns of the great Nanook. Let's start with this arrogant Xianzhou general.
No. Cutscene. Cutscene, let's go. No, not the general. Come on, come on.
I wonder if the transformation of the Xianzhou general into a Void Ranger would cast the law proof back into chaos. Destruction works in fascinating ways. What are you?
Huh?
Don Hong, do it!
Oh shit. Wait, what just happened?
Not bad, General of the Hunt. But all I lost was a body stolen on a whim. And you, how much longer can you last? The destruction of the Xianzhou is nigh.
Be gone, pawn of destruction. Tell the Legion that the vengeance of the Hunt will fall upon them.
Ooh, I love it. I like how in the end she's like,
General,
this was fun. Bye. That was good. That's good. But now the general is weakened, like heavily weakened because of this probably.
I'm still alive. And it would seem the two of us can still coordinate our efforts.
Well, that was like a thing they did before in the past, like fight style wise. Huh.
Fantilia, a truly fearsome enemy. If she hadn't attempted to turn me into a pawn of destruction, I'm afraid victory would have been far from certain. Fantilia had established a link between me and herself. Her well-timed strike gravely injured her. Thus, her connection to the Arbor was severed.
So he was able to summon his giant spirit and just fucking stab her in the back.
So it was all part of the plan? When Don Hung stabbed you, I was scared to death.
Yes, she's still alive.
It takes more than that to destroy an emanator of destruction. Still.
Fantilia won't be stirring up trouble anytime soon. Don't worry about her infecting the Arbor again. It's just that sealing the Stellaron is going to take some time.
Leave that to the Master Diviner. I'm afraid I may be somewhat spent.
General, keep those eyes open. Now's not the time to fall asleep. Hey, wake up!
Oh shit. A few moments later, Fushan and the Cloud Knights arrived. A star skiff was ready to take you all to Exalting Sanctum. Yay! We did it! We saved the day! Let's go!
It's getting late.
A dragon, gallant. It's ocean distant. Trailblaze, Mr. Internet. Stay tuned to find out what happens next in the upcoming installment. Wait, what? No. Okay, I can't get to E6. I need to farm that up now. But what?
Nice.
It just ends? Come on. This game is so bad at that. Stop doing that. You did it. This is twice in the Laofu. You just like have a sudden stop. You were doing so well. You're doing so well. And then like a sudden stop like that, you've got to stop doing that, Hoyoverse. You've got to give like a little bit of breath, a little breath after that. It's not a cliffhanger if you just stop in the middle of the story. Like, I just... Ugh, that's irritating. That was awesome. Like, all around... claps. Claps for Hoyoverse. Good story. Great. It was very satisfying to, like the whole Ting Yun thing was so cool. Like, that like, reveal was great. I can't say I exactly saw that coming, but I knew something was off with this character. I've been saying that for, like, months. And now I know why. And my theory about the fact that the reason she always gets hit, and it seems like she has a higher threat value than all the other characters in the game, is because she was Fantilia the entire time. I am like convinced of that. That was the case. Like that is part of the mechanic. And I wouldn't be surprised if now, like, it would be really interesting if now that Fantilia is no longer inside that we get a story, we get the situation where she doesn't get attacked as much anymore. or something like that. That would be really interesting if that was the case. I doubt that's what's going to happen, but that would be really cool. I have not finished this, obviously. I need to grind up these other 4, but we can get E6 Blazer now, so that's cool. I need to make sure I finish that at some point. I've been really lazy on that. But yeah, no, that's so cool. That's so cool. That was so much fun. I loved all the stuff with Don Hung. I loved all the stuff with Blade and Kafka. I love how Blade and Kafka are just like, all right, later. General was like, all right, you can go. One of those echoes was definitely Blade talking with Bayard Lune. Yeah, no, I'm glad I got to do this. I'm glad I finally sat down and did it. It was super fun. There was, oh, it's part of the Trailblaze. Oh, cool. They made it part of the battle pass. That's cool. I don't remember them ever doing something like that in Genshin. Anyways, yeah, no, that was great. I love the reveal. Kafka will be here soon. With her story quest and all that stuff too. So I'm definitely going to be doing those. So stay tuned for those on the YouTube side of things. But yeah, you know, let me know what you think back down in the comments on the YouTube side. And my thoughts are, that's a lot. I gotta process. I might do a video after a follow-up video of what I think about the current story of Star Rail. Because this is a lot to take in. Phantilia doing all this behind the scenes, the Vidyahara lore that was dropped, the Bailu quest lore that was dropped. It was great. So yeah, I think I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut the YouTube part there. So yeah, stay tuned for more, and I'm pretty sure I will end up seeing you guys next time. So.